killing you.
Uh, Zion Williamson. Man, that guy is a freak athlete. Zion Williamson has been in the news, man. Been in the news, man. Zion, man. The weight loss journey. Zion Williamson came back this media day looking skinny, man. Looking the skinniest he has ever looked. You know, he looks good, man. But how long will it last? Will it even stay like this? And is he just doing this, cause contract year, and he's trying to get that bag? As you can see, that man looking fit, man. The jawbone, cheek line, everything looks skinny, man. To go on, I don't know about the mustache though. He was a little too young to have that type of mustache, but other than that, Zion's looking good, man. He's looking ready, to have a dominant year for real. If that's what's gonna happen. Unfortunately, hopefully no injuries happen. But let's look at his timeline and how his weight has been looking through the years. In 2019, coming into the league, 284. 2020, he got to 300. 21, he got to 330. That was around the time, man. A lot of injuries was happening. 2022, he got it down to 284. 23, 285. 24. Surprisingly, the lowest he's ever been, they've said 281, and now this year, respectable 284. Has Zion really gotten better? Like if you look through the years, he's kept it around 280, 285-ish. And I think that's where he should stay. But, is it too late though? Is it too late for Zion to be that guy? You still have to teach Zion how to kind of play NBA basketball. Like he can score, he can do all this, but how to read defense, how to read defense in the playoffs, knowing when to be a playmaker, knowing when to attack downhill, and expanding the offensive game, really expanding the three ball, mid ranges, post ups, post fades, stuff like that. As you can see, last year 2024 pick, he looked a little bulky, man. Now 2025, he looks fairly skinny, fairly just looks ready to perform, ready to go out there and play, man. He looks great. He looks like a great player right now. And personally, man, I'm happy for him. I think that this is a good stepping stone to build off of for the Pelicans, as they've acquired a lot of new pieces, a lot of promising young prospects, and a lot of great guards, guys like Jordan Poole, guys like Herb Jones and Trey Murphy has been developing while Zion has been either injured or just overweight, really. Those guys have been developing and getting ready to they've been taking that next step. Trey Murphy is an all-star caliber type of player, in my opinion. And you pair that next to Zion, you got Jordan Poole there. You got DeJounte Murray, who's gonna come back after his, his injury situation. But then you got young guys like Fierce and Queen, guys that are dynamic, that can just add more to the bench depth of the team, potentially even starters. And you still got, great scrappy role players like Jose Alvarado. So this team, it's a team. I believe that it's a very good team. And I believe that, if Zion stays bought in to this, then he and this team can make a playoff push. This team can make a playoff push, but it all depends on if Zion is really bought into everything that's happening, or is he just doing this for the contract? And it's really kind of unfortunate that it kind of took him this long, in my opinion. because these years could have been used to develop his game. These years could have been used to just understand the game of basketball. And the certain ways he was answering some of these interview questions, he was answering them like this was like the first year that the organization has really believed in him. But the organization has been believing him since he got drafted, for real. They made sure they got private trainers, private health people for him. They made sure that his body was always okay, making sure that he took certain reps on the court live in real games and certain reps not in the game, because they wanted to make sure that his health was okay. And they got some guys around him, but he wasn't there. He wasn't there. So they tried to build a team, but you really don't know what your star player is gonna give you. Your cornerstone, your franchise player is gonna give you. It's kind of hard to build a competent team with just money going to waste. And that's how I kind of feel. That's how I kind of feel about Zion right now. I understand. Now it's better late than never. It's better late than never. He's still a fairly young player. Still got time. But what could have been, man? What could have been if he just bought in earlier and did what he was supposed to do as a professional athlete? I think this is his last opportunity to show. Guys like Jeff Teague really hammered in on Zion, saying how as a professional athlete, how could you not take care of your body? How could you not give it your all? You're literally getting paid to work out, and it kind of felt like he was taking it for granted. He was just taking the whole opportunity of being a professional athlete for granted, and I don't know, man, really just got the money and just stopped caring. I feel like the NBA really wanted Zion to be that next guy after LeBron, and so we have these years of where it's 40-year-old LeBron for his 40-year-old Stephen Curry, and we are still doing this. Everybody's getting old, but there's no new stars to take that reign. Luckily, Wemby came along. If Wemby didn't come along, then I don't know. Guys like Ja Morant, a lot of trouble. Guys like Anthony Edwards out there, SGA, those guys came along, But the guy that the NBA really banked on to be that guy, to be the next star of the league, to be the market, the selling point of the NBA was Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson had so much hype around him. It was like LeBron coming out of high school, man. That's the type of hype he had. The plays he was making at Duke, the absurd highlights he had in high school. It all felt like it was Zion's turn to, be that guy. So now I ask, are they gonna take the next step? Will the next step be took? Will the Pelicans make this next step to be a competent team? We're not gonna talk about contender or even playoff team, just competent. Are they gonna make the next step to be a competent team? And it all starts with Zion Williamson and keeping himself in shape and making sure that his body is good, making sure that his body is straight all the time. Because without Zion, it's kind of a mess, especially with the new CBA rules. Zion's gonna have to go if he can't, get his act straight. For real, that's how it's gonna have to be. But anyways, man, like, comment, subscribe, man. I ain't been dropping no vids, man. I took a month off, but we gotta get back to it, man. Gotta get back to it. But yeah, Zion Williamson, he has to prove not to just the NBA world, but to himself that he's still that guy. He's gonna go out there and get his 25 a game, but will it translate to actual winning basketball? Will it translate to playoff success? With that being said, like, comment, subscribe, and yeah.